Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 21, or Episode 80 overall. Last episode was really great. We got all of this stuff with Eren, how he has basically been pulling the strings this whole time, influencing Grisha, influencing all of these moments. I went back and rewatched a few things, and you're just kind of watching it through a different lens this time. There's this moment in that day where we get, the episode where we get Grisha's backstory, where Grisha, after he finds out what happens to his sister, he says, "I'll show them all the devil," and that sounds very much like a kind of Eren influenced moment. And then, of course, the moment when Eren gets to the sea and points across the sea, he's saying, "Will we finally be free if we kill everyone over there?" That could be him asking his future self that question. And then, of course, there's all of the implication that there could be another future Eren that's influencing current Eren as well to lead somewhere to whatever his end goal is now. And then I've seen that this episode is called From You 2000 Years Ago. The first episode ever of the show is called To You 2000 Years in the Future. And of course the 2000 years implies, there's a big gap. So I'm imagining we're getting the founder Ymir's backstory this episode. So that's really exciting. Whenever we've seen her in the coordinate, we've seen she's in this childlike form. So I'm wondering what her backstory is. Why is her avatar in the coordinate realm a child? Was she killed as a child, or did something traumatic happen as a child and she's always reverted back to this childlike mentality? Why is she the way she is, and why is she worshipping Zeke and Eren? And there's just so many questions there. So before we get into it, be sure to check out the Patreon. Over there you can find full-length timer-based reactions, 1 week early access, and polls so you can vote for what's next. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I am so excited. Okay, so we're seeing Grisha and Frida fight it out. Oh, just... I guess she has no fighting experience really. That's really brutal. Oh, he just ripped her head clean off. Wow. Okay, we're seeing how brutal this actually was now. And that was all stuff he didn't want to do, Yeah, he's only just heard of what happened through Eren. Eren's not actually allowing him to see everything. I'm surprised we're getting this bit recapped, because all of the action is still kind of happening in the coordinate at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, what is Eren gonna do next? I think the only thing possible is the rumbling. I can't think of anything worse than that he can do, Okay, here we are. Oh yeah, we haven't seen that. Oh, he called him Dad as well. Okay. He saw his own future. Is she actually doing it? So Zeke still has some control over her. Is Eren just gonna break free of them? Yeah, I mean, there's no consequence here because it's a different realm, so we can just break out of those. So So yeah, Zeke was saying like he'd seen some memories of the future, but he hadn't seen all of them. And you know, memories, they're not always perfect. You don't always remember things correctly. So there could still be some things that Eren saw of the future that he saw wrong or interpreted wrong, you know? From you 2,000 years ago. Here we go. Oh, it's in Historia. This is when she was younger as well. Oh, and they're playing TKT. Some Sawano back. Ymir, the founder. Kind and always thinks of others. Okay. Really like desaturated like the characters are, but the landscape not as much. The landscape's almost sepia. Yeah, look at how the colouring is different between her. She looks like she's made of stone almost. Okay, so her village was like burnt down. Oh, she was enslaved. Okay. You should become someone everyone loves. We're finally seeing like the true story, not the propaganda that was propagated by Marley or even by the restorationists. She took the blame? Or was given the blame? Was she actually the one who did it? I'm imagining not. You're free. Oh. They just set her free to like hunt her? Blood on a flower, that's like classic anime imagery. This music, I just got chills. Just this, what's with this tree? You know, we see in the coordinate there is what looks like a tree, but that is huge. It's like its own little world in there. And that is a gorgeous shot. Is that it? Is that the devil of all earth that gave her the power of the Titans? And this is her Titan form. The face is just like a skull. Oh, so they saw that she become the Titan and then have used her. So I guess that form is like all 9 of them combined, right? So she wasn't even the one behind all of it. It was the king who forced her to do it, essentially. But she acted as like their ultimate weapon. She hasn't like spoken a word this whole time. We never actually see her like speak or have much free will at all. Yeah, just like building temples, and this is all because of her. Now she's got kids. It's like everyone here, it's like their eyes are glazed over. We never see anyone's pupils, do we? Oh, is that like a Malian soldier? But Yumi jumped in the way. She just died there? She didn't like regenerate? Or is he gonna control her? Or is she gonna like allow herself to die? That's like her freedom from him, you know? That's the only way she can escape. They ate her? Okay. And Cena. So the 3 wolves are named after them? And that's where it branched off into 3, so they inherited And then we see, you know, it's like a fully formed tree later. They're the first 3 branches. Is that how the 9 shifters were born? And she just spent this whole time here building. So yeah, she's essentially like, she tried to free herself from the world by dying, but she's still essentially a slave here. Oh, is she like building the walls? They look like they're standing in a circle. Oh, give it over to Eren and then she can be free? She's been waiting to be free. Does she obey the royal blood because she obeyed the king before, you know? We finally see her pupils and she's crying. This music is amazing. Oh! It's joined Eren? That's what we saw, that connected to Ymir. Oh, this is different, this transformation. It's happening. The wall. The walls are crumbling. He's activated the rumbling. There they are. Oh my god, the music. Right, Rhino's still looking out for Gabby. So there's that like centipede thing. That's like the power of the Titans. What is that? I guess Eren's got a new form. Are they just gonna wipe out Shiganshina as well? That is enormous. That must be the biggest thing we've seen so far. It's way bigger than Roderick's. She can't even hear him over the rumbling. Armin is still having a lot of faith in Eren. Yeah, she knows this means Zeke's plan has failed. Yeah, they're like going around, so they're not crushing any... They're not crushing much of Paradise, are they? He's attacking using all of them. He's making an announcement. They're in the coordinates. Are the Malians hearing this as well, or is it's just the subjects of Ymir? Just oh, Falco. Historia. Oh, what is that? So he's going to wipe out everyone who isn't a subject of Ymir. Basically, he's going to do the opposite. Oh, what an episode. That was really, really great. Again, just another banger. So we start off learning Ymir's backstory. I thought this whole episode would have been backstory, but it's just, you know, the first half, not even that really. So we see Ymir, she was just living in this village and it gets taken over. You know, it's obviously 2,000 years ago, so very primal. They just had windmills and kind of not very developed technology wise. And then she gets enslaved by this king, and she is given the blame for everything. And we see when Historia is reading the book, they said, like, you want to be like her, you want to be kind of selfless, which I don't know if she really was. She just kind of accepted all of this blame. Everyone pointed the finger at her, quite literally. And then the king just kind of like said, "You're free to go," and then used that as an excuse to hunt her, I guess. And then that's where she finds this tree. It looked like this tree had been like titanified, you know, it was huge. She falls in this water, and we see this like snake centipede being just comes up to her, and then suddenly, boom, she's transformed. She's enormous, this like very skeletal figure. And we see later, Aaron's got this new form that's also very skeletal. So it's like the founder Titan form is always very skeletal, maybe. I'm guessing, you know, this centipede thing is what we see, and that is the devil of all earth, or what gives people the power of the Titans, what gave it to the founder Ymir. And then we also see it again later in the episode, and it kind of grows out of Aaron's body, connects back to his head, and it looks like it's reaching for Zeke a bit as well, right before Aaron just like transforms into this completely new form. So I'm thinking, so this like centipede thing is obviously still around. That must be what the founding Titan is. So it probably like was in Ymir and then was like passed down through all of these Titans. And then when Eren ate his dad, that he like ate it and it was like inside Eren this whole time. So like there is like this physical embodiment of what the power of the Titans is really, and this physical embodiment of, I guess I'll just call it the devil, you know, because that's what they always call it in all of the Malian propaganda. In the Mali propaganda, they say Ymir did a deal with the devil of all earth. So I'm guessing that's what this is. But like, it didn't seem like there was a deal necessarily. He just kind of latched onto her. You know, she was definitely in need. She like needed help because she was damaged, so that would have like healed her wounds. But it wasn't necessarily like her doing a deal. She never accepted anything from it. There was never like a conversation. It just kind of latched onto her. And then I really liked how stylized some of the flashbacks were. You know, it seemed like a lot of the characters, they were super desaturated. Like I said, they almost looked like stone. And we see all of their eyes are completely like washed over. They don't have any irises, and it's kind of like shaded over. When Ymir is listening to Eren and crying, we finally see like her eyes and her pupils, and I think that is almost like a signifier of her taking control of her freedom. She is finally like making her own choice. I mean, like, she did that before when she jumped in front of that sphere to save the king, but I don't think that was really to save the king. That was just a way for her to obtain freedom from him just through death. But even that was kind of futile because she died and then she's ended up in the coordinate realm where she's just been stuck here for eternity, being like even more of a slave. We also see like she's being fed to her own children. Like, they cut her up and feed them to her children. And it sounded like they said, you know, eat your mother so you can inherit the power of the Titans as well. But I don't know if that's necessary, because we see it's not like every new subject of Ymir that's born eats their parents to gain the ability to turn into a Titan, you know? So that might just be something that the king thought was necessarily for that. And, you know, we see all of this time that Ymir, she has been a slave to the royal blood. Even today, she only obeys royal blood, and that's probably just something that has been kind of ingrained in her since she was young, when she was with this king, and this king has forced her to do all of these horrible things, you know? We didn't get like too much backstory on the Marleyans and the Eldians like from back then. So I don't know like if the Marleyans were encroaching and were more powerful back then, and then the king from back then used Ymir to overtake them. Obviously he used Ymir to build the roads and to win against Marley. So at least like that aspect of the story is true. But there's still a lot of info here that we don't know, like in terms of how one-sided the war was, and how one-sided it was before the king had the power of Ymir. But all of this blame is put on Ymir, but it wasn't really. It was the king who she was a slave to. But she definitely had the power to have some freedom for herself. But I think just she didn't have the mindset back then to take that power and to run away from the king. She's got this founding titan, and she could have wiped out the king, wiped out all of the Eldians, freed all of the people that were also slaves. That's kind of what Eren is trying to do now. So yeah, it's finally begun. The rumbling is starting. We're seeing it. It looks amazing. All of the music as well. The music when like Eren is grabbing onto Ymir, and then suddenly we're back in the real world and Eren is transforming into this new form. That music was just amazing. I don't know if that was Sawano. It didn't really have Sawano. He has like this kind of iconic like choir that he likes to use. So this might have been Kota Yamamoto, I believe, is the other musical producer on the show. But we're seeing kind of like a mix, because we got TKT, which is a Sawano song. We got that earlier in the episode, so it was great to have that back. That is one of my favorite songs. So we're like getting a mix of both of them. We're getting some Yamamoto and some Sawano, which is great. So Eren, he has this like new form, and it's just enormous, like way bigger than anything we've seen before. I think it definitely looks like bigger than Rod Reese's Titan. It looks like it's like double the height of a colossal, and then however long it is, I have no idea. So it does look huge, and I'm guessing it's just like heading on its way to Marley to just go wipe them out with all of the Titans that have been freed from the walls. Paradise is completely exposed now, but it doesn't really matter if Eren is going to be going and wiping everyone else out, which that's what he says he's going to do. He gave this announcement to the subjects of Ymir. So really, I guess a lot of the Marleyans won't know, but they'll realize, after seeing what happens to all of the Eldians, because there's the Eldians that are enslaved in Marley and things, they'll see the reaction of those and wonder what's going on. So the news of that will spread fast. I don't know. Eren said he's going to wipe out the entire world, it seems, because it is really the whole world that is afraid of Eldia. It's just the whole world is relying on Marley. There was like the Hizuru clan who were helping out Eldia a bit, but they were still kind of complicit in everything that was happening with Marley. They were only helping out Eldia for the profit incentive back then, weren't they? So I feel like Eren is just going to be attacking everyone except Paradise Island. But then if he is attacking Marley with the rumbling, there's no way he can avoid all of the Eldians that are already on Marley. Or is he gonna see them as, like conspirators with them because they never did anything to come and help? Because like obviously Reiner and all the warriors, they are subjects of Ymir, but they were working with Marley. So is that how he sees all of them? Because a lot of them, they are just kind of innocent and enslaved. There's not really much they could have done to overthrow Marley while they were there. Is he going to go and kill them as well? And then we are kind of getting into the kind of idea of collective punishment, which is really kind of tricky to navigate, because Eren is taking this out on the entire world, or at least he says he is. So I'm just kind of taking his word for it at face value here, where he's going to wipe out every single person as well. And there's a lot of parallels you can draw to the real world here, where the children, the children who live in Marley, they are innocent. They haven't done anything wrong, and they're going to be killed. But then you could lay the blame on that on their parents. But there's a lot of things that are like difficult here. There's no way Eren could only kill the people responsible. He could wipe out all of Marley's army, which is what Armin had thought he was going to do, but now it seems he's going to just wipe out the entirety of Marley. Of course, they were kind of, the people in Marley, they knew what was happening, but there isn't really much they could have done. But they were still kind of complicit in it. But then there's definitely people in Marley who are not. Like I said, the children and all of the Eldians who are there. I mean, this kind of applies to the whole world. The whole world knew what was happening, really, and kind of allowed it to happen. But also, Mali is this big military force. If another country tried to do anything about it, who knows how that would have gone? That would have just incited more violence and started another war with Mali, perhaps. Can you really blame them for not going to war with Mali, considering what a powerhouse of a military they are? We have seen, with their use of the Titans, they were basically unstoppable up until now. So to kind of lay the blame with the entire planet, essentially, there's a lot of people there who probably shouldn't get killed. I think that's a pretty reasonable stance. So going forward, I'm wondering what Armin and Mikasa are going to do, because obviously they were on his side, but that was only because Armin only thought he was attacking the Marleyan forces. He didn't think that Eren was going to attack the entirety of the world. Are Armin and Mikasa going to go after Eren now? Can they even go after him? He has the Founding Titan's power that is so much. We don't even know the full extent of his capabilities. Obviously, he started the rumbling. He has the ability to change people's biology. There's the whole kind of Ackerman curse thing that's controlling Mikasa in some ways. And that could simply be Eren manipulating her through the memories, right? Because that was questioned, the validity of that was questioned. So is that just Eren going into the coordinate, going back to these moments and like encouraging Mikasa to help Eren and to protect him? That could very well be the case. This whole like curse of the Ackermans, where they are bound to like protect people. I don't really know a lot about that. We don't know where that originates from. So that could be the case. That is Eren's who's doing that. Because Mikasa, I guess, is she only half subject of Ymir? Because obviously her mother was Asian and then her dad was Eldian, and she's like the last Asian that was on Paradise. She obviously is a subject of Ymir because she was there. She witnessed Eren's like presentation to the world saying, hey, I'm gonna come kill you. She was one of the subjects of Ymir that saw that. So she definitely is like a subject of Ymir, but she's like only half, I guess. So I could see a case now where everyone's teaming up against Eren now because they think he's going too far if he's going to be wiping out the world, Well, if that's the case, how do you even stop him? He is gigantic. He has godlike abilities, essentially. He's got control of all of these colossal titans. Like, even if Armin transforms, he can't fight off against all of these colossal titans. We've only ever seen a colossal titan be downed once, and that was, we saw what happened to Armin with that. That took extreme pressure, and that was an extreme circumstance that brought him down. There's no way they can bring down all of these other colossal titans, but I guess these other ones, they don't have the kind of sentience that Berthold and Armin do. But if they're being controlled by Eren, then they might be, he can control them a bit better, I guess. So they're a bit better than just like a pure titan, perhaps, if he's controlling them. So I think we will see everyone kind of team up. I don't know, maybe even the Jaegerists will realize what's happening and kind of abandon what they're doing and team up with the Marleyans, but they could still be supporting Eren. There definitely will be people who still support him, and they're not thinking, oh, this is too far. But I think Armin and Mikasa definitely do. So, and then of course we have a new Jaw Titan with Falco. So we've kind of got Falco as the jaw, Rhino as the armor, Armin as the colossal going after him. I just listed those off. They're like the remaining Titans, but then Annie, she is still unaccounted for in her crystal state. Of course, there's Peak as well. Annie is still in her crystal state. I don't know, will she make a return this late into the show? We did see in season 4, part 1, we did see her again, and we saw Armin talking to her. So maybe Armin can go talk to her and get her released. And we know the Jaw Titan is powerful enough to eat through those crystals, so maybe Falco can go free her. But it's kind of very late in the game for her to kind of show up again. But they do need like all of the help they can get. I don't think, even with, what is it, 5 of the shifters. So there's Pete, Rhino, Annie, Armin, and Falco. We've got 5 shifters, but I don't think that's going to be enough to take down Eren, like as he is at the moment. And what is happening with Zeke as well, it seems like, the devil of all Earth that kind of like consumed him. So is Zeke kind of trapped within Eren's new form or something? Is Zeke still alive? I imagine he's still alive. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening with Zeke. It's almost like he was fused, like the devil of all Earth kind of came in and like attached himself to him or something like that. We saw it kind of going towards Zeke, and then it cut away to kind of the rest of the transformation. So I have no idea what's happening with Zeke. But Zeke is now against Eren as well. So Zeke could be on their team as well. But Zeke is kind of unaccounted for here. It seems like all of this military focus, that's just going to completely shift onto Eren now. Everyone's going to team up against Eren. But it just seems like everything will be ineffective. Like, what can you actually do in this situation? Because the Titans, they're just going to trample everything, essentially. We've seen, like, how hard communication is. Mikasa and Armin could, like, barely hear each other when they were talking because of how loud the rumbling was. I think that's everything I have to say. What an amazing, amazing episode. All of the visuals and the music were on point. I hope you enjoyed this reaction and discussion. This is the longest discussion I think I've done. It's half an hour at this point. Obviously, you'll be a bit shorter for YouTube, but that's pretty crazy. If you enjoyed this and you've stuck around till now, be sure to leave a like or a comment, or even subscribe so you can keep up to date for the future episodes, because it's just going crazy at the moment. And be sure to check out the Patreon, where you can get the full-length timer-based version of this reaction and any polls, so you can vote for what show replaces Attack on Titan when this is finished. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.